Hi, my name is Deanne Roy, and on my channel, I focus on personal development and self-care. So personal development means a lot to me because it's just such a great way to kind of, marry your goals and your dreams and your ambitions and your aspiration into something that you work within your life. And so my personal development journey, I talk about that in my other videos, so you can definitely go check that out to kind of learn more about my personal development journey. But I'm still on this journey right now. And so on my journey at this particular time, I use self-care to kind of help me to work on self-prioritization and taking care of myself in that way. And so there was a time where I didn't prioritize my needs. And sometimes I still don't, but I try really hard, and so, and self-preservation is a big thing. So self-prioritization and self-preservation is a big thing when it comes to self-care for me, because I want to make sure I'm okay. And I want to be able to be on my personal development journey for a long time with good habits and just working on it without getting burnt out. And so that was a big thing that I learned. It was just like I had to prioritize not just my needs per se, but prioritize what's important to me, not just in the long run, but daily. What's going to make me feel energized, what's going to help me to show up, what's going to help me to make a difference in my life. And so and what's a part of my everyday life that's meaningful. And so that's why I think self-care can be such an important part of helping you with your goals and your dreams and your aspirations and all the things that you're thinking about. If you are taking care of yourself and you're making time to put yourself, whether it's on your schedule or fun things that you do to make sure that you're okay, or things you do to preserve your health, or not, or having certain boundaries, and that was hard for me because, I'm a lot better with my boundaries now, and I will let people know a lot of times. But there was a time I would say yes to a lot of things that I didn't really want to do, or I wasn't really comfortable doing because I didn't want to disappoint people. And so, and for some reason, I'm glad I've grown out of that thought process. I didn't want anyone to think like I was some kind of bad person because I wasn't doing what they asked me to do. And so I had to learn to have certain boundaries with people, because sometimes it felt like they're ready to just take. And, and then I'm running on empty. And then I just ignore a lot of things. And then it becomes a snowball effect for me. And here I am kind of, burnt out and not doing the things that I was doing before that was helping me on my journey and making sure that I feel at peace and happy and like I'm going to get it, And so it was just such a learning experience. And now it becomes a big experience for me. If I feel like I'm overwhelmed or things aren't working or it's too much going on, I sometimes let people know, or prioritize resting a little extra, prioritize meditation a little bit more, and so that was kind of the learning process for me, that one of the big things when it comes to self-care is that it can be more than your face mask and your bubble baths and getting your hair done or getting your nails done, which, by the way, are all great things. I still do a lot of those things and they still make me feel good. And so they are worthy personal care and self-care, stuff to do. But sometimes you got to get deeper so that you can really do that inner work so that you are okay. And so as self-care became a bigger priority, I started to do more self-care work in different areas. I started to do some reading. One of the big things that I don't feel like I could live without when it comes to self-care is journaling. And that really helped me, because sometimes when I write, I get some depths and levels that I didn't even realize, was even going on. I was sitting there thinking that like everything's okay, I got this is fine. And I would write something and be like, wow, this must be on an unconscious level. And I didn't realize it. So I had to sit there and do the work, take the time, take the minute, and meditation became a big thing. I learned about how meditation for like 8 weeks could rewire the brain in a better way. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I read this in a book and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this. I think I got like through 4 or 5 weeks, but I felt so much better. And I go in and out of meditating, where I might be doing it for 2-3 weeks straight. And it's not long for me. I will do maybe 2-3 minutes and I feel so good. But then other things come up and I don't do it as much. But at the end of the day, I still stand by that meditation. It's such a great tool. And I really think that everyone should try it at least one time in their life, is to just sit in that solitude, sit in that silence, and meditate if they can. But for me, my big thing was that I needed to get to a place where self-care was a decision-making process. Everyday decisions were about self-prioritization and self-care and self-preservation. And so, during certain chapters of your life, it may feel overwhelming and you may not be doing these things. And then you kind of have to remind yourself and, maybe do them in small portions or, one little thing just to kind of make sure you're okay. So my self-preservation, one of the big things I did for self-preservation is to make sleep a priority. And, it's still a struggle some days. Not that I just want to stay up late and do more and just kind of chill out, because during the day I'm just doing all these stuff around the house and kind of cleaning up and taking care of my daughter and just and maybe thinking of ideas for projects that I'm working on and all those good things. But then I realized that in order for me to show up as my best and to kind of be okay, I need to sleep. And so I started to realize that I needed a bedtime, and that was my big kind of self-preservation thing, making sure that there's a bedtime. I realized that books make me feel so calm and at peace. So even if it's 10-15 minutes, I just put a little timer on my watch and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna relax for 10 minutes and read a book and just try to calm down. And one of the things that I also learned is that sometimes there is this overconsumption of things going on. And so I had to correct that kind of behavior where maybe I'm just on social media way too much, or on TikTok too long, or, just reading 2 books and never get one finished. And so I had to reprioritize those things, because we're not meant to just consume everything under the sun. There has to be a time where you're consuming some things, and there is a period of time where you are taking time to understand what you've learned or consumed, and there's also a time of rest, so that you're a lot more balanced and you're not overcompensating in any area or overstimulated in any area. So it was a really good learning lesson for me. And I took all of these things to make sure that my self-care was not just, on the surface level, but some of the deeper levels, and also a big part of my decision-making process, where it's like, okay, on the calendar, I need to just put it on the calendar that I'm gonna get up early and go for a walk because it's gonna make me feel better. I need to just put it on my calendar to find 15 minutes to read a book. So there were just things that in everyday decision-making process where I'm like, okay, you know what? I can't watch that TV show because it makes me uncomfortable. It's interesting, the actors are good, but it's just not working for me. And that was one of those things where you kind of learn from the process. And I just want to encourage you guys to, no matter what, keep using self-care and any other tools that you have that makes your life in any way better, more enjoyable. Your quality of life is, in a better place. Just keep showing up. Your personal development journey is an important journey, and it's not necessarily going to be a linear and straight line to the top and lots of success and everything is great. Wham bam. There might be peaks and valleys, and there may be moments where you feel stuck. So I just want to encourage you to keep showing up, keep putting in that work, but also make space and time to take care of yourself and to rest and to have fun, Think about even when you were a child, like fun was such a priority. And for some adults, fun still is, but as time moves on, work becomes a priority, or if you have kids, kids become a priority, your household becomes a priority. And sometimes fun is not a priority. Your hobbies aren't a priority anymore. Sometimes even your friendships start to decline because you are so caught up in just taking care of all these other responsibilities. And finding that balance on your journey becomes really important. And even though I don't think there's any perfect balance, I think it's hard to have balance in your life, but something that keeps your life in harmony, something that keeps you aligned with like your morals and your passions and what's important to you. So I'm just encouraging you guys to just keep showing up, keep putting in the work, keep, at it. And on your journey, if you feel overwhelmed, take some time, take a little self-reflection and go through some things that you can work through and work on. All right, guys, you have a wonderful day. Let me know in the comments things that you are doing to make your personal development journey better or growing, or anything that you've learned alongside your personal development journey. All right, guys, you have a wonderful day. Bye now.